In this video, I'm going to be going over with you guys how you can bulk this winter and throughout the beginning of 2025 without gaining fat and just basically gaining as little fat as physically possible. And before we get into this video and before I get into the 4 things that I'm going to go into with you guys, I just want to introduce myself so you guys know who I am. So my name is Ryan, I'm a 19-year-old and I've physically and mentally transformed myself over the past 3.5 years, taking myself from looking like this in 2021 to looking like this now in 2024. And I'm on a mission to help educate and inspire skinny guys who are in the same position I was 3.5 years ago, because I know what it's like and I want to help them do the exact same thing that I've done. And in order to help me do this, I've just created my very own online free community, which basically, you guessed it, helps skinny guys bulk, gain weight and sculpt their physiques just like I have, and I will be there to guide you. So if that sounds like you ticks all your boxes, and if you like the sound of me and the community, then I'd absolutely love to see you in there. It'll be the top link in the description, but enough of the yapping. Let's get into this video. So before I get into the 4 things I want to talk about, I just want to give you guys a little disclaimer, right? So when you bulk, you are bound to gain fat, right? It's not like there's no magic potion, there's no magic drug, there's no magic steroid that can basically help you not gain fat on the bulk. You're bound to gain fat because you're eating more than what your body needs. Therefore, you're obviously going to put on a little bit of body fat on this as a consequence of bulking. So I just want to briefly disclaim that this video isn't going to basically cure you gaining fat. Like, you're bound to gain fat, but basically this video is to minimize the amount of fat you are going to gain on the bulk. So without further ado, let's get into the 4 things that I need to explain. I need to talk about with you guys, right? So the first thing that I want to go into is pretty obvious, in order to minimize your fat gain, is eating clean foods and avoiding fatty foods. It's pretty, it's a pretty simple and probably a pretty obvious thing that you guys need to be doing. But the thing that people get twisted about in relation to the bulk is that they have freedom to eat whatever they want. Obviously, when you're bulking, you do have that freedom to eat whatever you want because, you're trying to get your calories in, so it does not necessarily matter too much. But at the same time, there's an extent to which you have this freedom, right? Because if you're eating junk food all the time and you're just living off junk food and you're eating dirty foods and you're binging in all these shit foods, then you're bound to gain a lot of fat because those foods are, they contain a lot of fat, right? However, if you actually kept it clean, you're eating whole foods, you're getting you're getting your vitamins and minerals in, you're getting your you're getting your micronutrients in, you're getting your macronutrients in from good healthy food. So you're eating your eggs, you're eating your beef, you're getting your carbohydrates in. So you're eating your rice, you're eating your pasta, you're eating your healthy foods. You're going to you're going to put on a lot less fat. And I just want to actually disclaim something as well. If you guys don't necessarily trust me, right? This was me last year, peak bulk. I gained 10 kilos in 6 months and I still had abs. So you can trust me with this information, right? So yeah, you want to be eating clean. You don't want to be eating high fat foods. And one huge mistake that people make with a bulk is that they assume that, obviously eating in a calorie surplus is absolutely crucial, but they solely focus on eating in a calorie surplus and they don't zoom in to the contents of the food that is going to make up that calorie surplus. And arguably, once you've got the calorie surplus consistent, and once it's getting pretty easy to eat in a surplus every day, you must be zooming in on the contents of the food, because you can't be bulking and you can't be living day to day by eating pizzas, McDonald's, KFC. You can't be doing it because it's unhealthy. Yeah, it has protein in, but it also has twice the amount of fat in, as the protein. So you've got to sort of weigh out, you're getting protein, but at what cost, right? And you can be paying such a smaller cost by eating healthier foods. So that's my first thing that I wanted to get into. Make sure you're eating as clean as possible. Obviously, you can have a little bit of junk here and there, treat yourself a tiny bit, because as I said, you're bulking, you technically do have this freedom. But what people don't realize is that, they have the freedom to an extent. And, if they overuse and if they abuse their power of freedom during the bulk, then they're going to have to pay for that when they have to cut down, because they'll have more fat on, therefore they're going to have more fat to lose, therefore they're going to have to be in a a stricter calorie deficit for a longer period of time, and it's going to be more mentally challenging, okay? So, you know, you've got to think about it for, you know, the long term as well, and saving yourself all of that time when you eventually have to shed off the fat that you've put on a bulk. And you want to minimize that, right? You want to make it an easier process for yourself. So eat clean, healthy foods and make sure you get your calorie surplus that way. And another thing as well, that will make you feel 10 times better day to day. I guarantee you, the quality of your life is going to become so much better once you take care of your diet. And I can say this from, you know, personal experience. I was eating junk food. I was eating shit food all the time in order to bulk. But, you know, I soon realised that I can't keep living like this. You know, I was getting spots everywhere. I was pretty fat as well. Um, and then I started eating clean foods, and you know, I feel great. I feel amazing, right? So make sure you eat your clean foods. Now, the second thing that I want to get into in relation to how to bulk without gaining too much fat is don't overeat. Okay, going back to what I was talking about that calorie surplus. And by the way, if you don't know what a calorie surplus is, it's basically when you eat more than what your body needs day to day. So you eat in excess to what your body needs day to day. So for example, if you needed to eat 2,000 calories every day to stay at the same weight, in order to eat in a calorie surplus, you'd eat between 2,250 to 2,350 calories in order to gain weight as smoothly as physically possible. And what I mean by don't overeat is, for example, going back to that example, if your maintenance calories was 2,000 calories every day and you only needed 2,250 to 2,350 calories to stay at the same weight, but you just end up eating 3,000 calories every day because you feel like, you know, the more I eat, the more weight I'm going to gain and the more muscle I'm going to gain. Yeah, it's great that you're eating in a surplus, but you're eating way more than what your body needs, and this is just going to lead to, you know, that extra energy that you've consumed being turned into fat, because, you know, it's basically too much for your body to deal with, right? Therefore you're just going to put on a lot of fat, and you know, it's going to be more fat than muscle, right? And as I said, that energy that you're putting into your body, that extra, what, 1,000 calories, you don't need it, right? So make sure you're not overeating. Eat, for example, going back to that example, eat within 2,250 to 2,350 calories. You're going to smoothly gain weight then. And then the more you gain weight, the more you can increase the calories, because obviously the more you've got to eat in order to gain weight when you increase the weight further. So for example, when I was 51 kilos when I started the gym, I had to eat a very little amount compared to what I have to eat now when I weigh 75 kilos in order to gain weight, if that makes sense to you. So the second thing in this video is don't overeat. So that's the second thing. Now the third thing that I want to get into is staying active. And what I mean by this, it's the dreaded C word, cardio, alright? We don't necessarily want to do it, but you should. And what I mean by cardio, by the way, is really low intensity cardio. And this could even be just going on a walk outside, right? For example, I'm pretty active all the time, every day, and I'm walking about quite a lot. So that's my, you know, that's my active cardio, I'd say. But yeah, getting your cardio in, your low intensity cardio in, is really important. And this basically helps you minimize your fat gain when you're bulking, because, you know, when you incorporate low intensity cardio into your routine, it basically makes it easier to maintain a leaner physique whilst even eating a surplus. And this is because when you do cardio, your metabolism is going to increase. Therefore, you're going to be demanding more energy back into your body. Therefore, as I said, while even though you're eating in a surplus, it's going to be easier to maintain a leaner physique. And this keeps your body in a state where it's burning fat more. And basically, what a fast metabolism is basically you burn fat really easily, whether you're resting or whether you're active or whether you're doing really low intensity cardio, right? So it's basically a win-win situation. So what I would highly suggest for you guys is just incorporate some really low intensity cardio. Even walking, as I said, you know, going on a bike ride with your partner or with your family or with your friend, right? Low intensity cardio does its bit. And as I said, if you don't necessarily want to be losing so much fat and putting yourself through that torture of eating in a deficit for a long time, then, you know, incorporate some low intensity cardio, literally walking. And that may sound stupid, but that is all you need. You see these bodybuilders and you wonder why they, you know, you wonder why you see them, you know, getting their steps in every day. It's because it's low intensity cardio. It does its bit, and I would highly suggest you if you're living a bit of a sedentary lifestyle and you don't get out of your house more, get out of your house, go on a little 10-minute walk in the morning, go on a little half an hour walk every other day, right? And not just for the bulk and minimizing fat gain, it also just gives you that mental clarity and you feel so much better about yourself day to day. And if you don't believe me, then take action after this video. I'm holding you accountable right now. And the next morning, whenever that is, whenever you're watching this, as soon as the first thing you do, go on a 10 to 20 minute walk and tell me how you feel after. You'd feel absolutely amazing. Okay. So the third thing that I want to get into is stay active and do your low intensity cardio. And just one more thing before I move on is that don't be doing your cardio excessively, because then if you're doing excessive intense cardio, like, I don't know, running every single day, then that is going to hinder your muscle gain and your muscle growth going forward on the bulk. Okay, so keep it low intensity, don't do high intensity, and yeah, that's the third thing. Now on to the last thing that I want to get into. It's pretty simple. Train hard. Okay, I guarantee you 99% of you that are watching this video are not training hard enough. So you need to stop being a pussy and you need to start training hard and pushing your limits and pushing in the moment. Remember that pain is temporary, okay? The reason why this is, obviously this contributes to fat gain is because it's going to help you increase your metabolic rate. So, you're going to have a faster metabolism. As I was saying earlier, if you have a fast metabolism, you can burn fat a lot easier and a lot more efficiently when you're resting, or when, it doesn't matter whether you're resting or whether you're doing physical activity. You just burn fat a lot easier. And another thing as well is that when you're older, you're not necessarily going to have a faster metabolism, right? So it's going to be a lot harder to burn fat. So you want to be training hard now. You want to be doing as much as you can now in order to give you the best advantage you can possibly get, okay? So make sure you're training hard, not being a pussy, going in there, doing everything you can, leaving the gym knowing that you had nothing left, you didn't even have one rep left in the tank, and you're going to feel amazing as well. So that is the end of this video. I've tried to keep it as brief as possible and as short as possible. I hope you guys have enjoyed and you truly learned something about how to bulk, while simultaneously minimizing the amount of fat you gain. If you have enjoyed this video and you have learnt something, then I'd really, really appreciate it if you could drop a like, a comment, and a subscription down below. It helps me out an absolute tremendous amount. And for you guys, the algorithm can recommend me to you more. Therefore, you don't miss a single upload of mine, as I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So you don't want to be missing that, do you? You don't want to be missing that, alright? So without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video.